You're listening to Wanna Coffee with Kai Alicia.
And Adriana.
Talking
Random.
sensible
Shit.
Yeah, so she is the VP prick. Excuse me. You can tell what I'm thinking about. She's the VP pick for Biden, which is really interesting. I can't say I saw it coming. What about you? What are your thoughts?
The thing is that I saw it coming as, this is what you have to do in order to survive. If you pick anyone that is not from this determined background, then you're gonna screw it up because you think, okay, this is more of the same. But what I wonder is if these people, they're just being posing in, okay, so black people are in fashion right now, so yeah, we have to choose someone like that to get the votes. Or maybe if there were Latin people like that, they were in fashion, okay, let's choose a Latin one. And I'm not saying these people, they don't deserve to be there, they have their own merit, but I don't know, like it looks like a political game, which we're not above that. I mean, given the current political circumstances in America, I will say, like, now everyone will think, okay, the plan is to defeat Trump, no matter how. So they're just playing all these cards and say, okay, let's play the minority card. You matter to us. We want your votes. Come with us. But what will happen if this was like a regular election? Would they have taken the same decision? Like, we're gonna make with a minority background and make it someone as important as a VP.
Yeah. Yeah, I sort of hoped that the pick would have been somebody like Susan Rice, but I do feel that for a number of reasons, this actually is a good move on the Democratic for the Democrats. And the reason I feel that way is because Joe Biden is basically a very moderate he's a moderate Democrat.
He's so moderate that he's almost Republican.
That's it. He really, and based on a lot of the things he's said in the past and what he does want, and how he's acted in, not necessarily as vice president for Barack Obama, but in his other appointed positions, he is basically Republican in a lot of his stance and his ideas. So the same thing can actually be said about Kamala Harris. I feel that she is also moderate. However, and this is like based on what I've seen of her in her, I guess, in some of her decisions and jurisdiction over things. She seems to be moderate as well, but she was the most progressive senator during those debates. A lot of her ideas were really sort of progressive on stage. I remember when her debating, most of them on stage, I thought, wow, like, as much as I don't like her based on her history, and as much as I don't like her just based on her, there's something about her behaviorally, physically, I think that just rubs me the wrong way. And so She sort of puts me off, just as a character. She just really acts like a prosecuting attorney, and she's kind of got the whole like situation setup going on, and so I don't particularly like it, but I think she rubs a lot of Democrats the wrong way, and I think she rubs a lot of Republicans the wrong way. However, I do think it's a good move because right now I don't think the Democrats want to be seen, and I'm just talking about strategically. I don't think they want to be seen as progressive or too liberal, too socially, fiscally relaxed. I don't think they want to be seen right now as socialists, because I think if they do that, then they'll be the extreme opposite of Trump. And having somebody like Biden and Kamala, who are moderates, kind of put kind of.
Do you think they unified?
Yeah, I think that they make Republicans like question like if they want to stay Republicans, because the way the Republican Party is looking right now is looking like it's going is like basically to a bunch of racist redneck hillbillies.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's losing its integrity, its class, and everything really that the Republican Party actually stood on, like its principles. It's starting to look really like reckless and ridiculous, and I don't think they want to look like that. I think that they're supporting Trump just because of party affiliations, but they know they don't want their party to die out, to just, like the Republicans, in my opinion, they're all about the taxes. They're all about the money. They don't really want any of this like conspiracy theorist, like seriously evangelical like juggernauts. Like they want, Republicans, well, especially old Republicans, want these like dignified businessmen and women, white businessmen and women.
Dignified.
Exactly.
Honorable.
So yeah. So I think that it really makes them look at Biden and Harris as like, holy shit, they actually kind of look like Republicans. But I think the thing that shakes shit up a bit is that she's black. And not just black, but I mean, they're really pushing this whole black thing. But she's Indian as well. And so they're hoping, I feel like, that she's going to get the immigrant vote, that she's going to get the black vote, just because of these attributes, just because of these, characteristics or qualities, not really attributes, but things about her. Because she's black and an immigrant.
So you should vote for someone that has been where you are.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah, in theory, or is who you are. And for a lot of Republicans, I mean, they can't really discredit her if they look at her history. They like what she does. Like, she's basically a proponent of what they like. So, it's actually a bit clever. And the only sort of other hopeful thing that I think with this whole thing is that both of them are concerned, both Biden and Harris are very concerned about likability. And if they're concerned with that, they basically will honor accountability. So they may change their principles or their stance on things just to make sure that they please the general public.
Yeah. And something that Red, she has said, it was regarding accountability, was that, okay, she said that she was someone that had worked with the Constitution her whole life, and at the same time, if she will be the VP, she will make sure that the current president will be held accountable for all the things that are going on allegedly, and I think people would like to see justice. Do you think that
Mm-hmm.
that is an important point?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that people I think that people I think that people do want to see justice. And they don't, for many people, they don't want Trump, but at the same time, I think people are definitely afraid that she's going to be Hillary.
I
I
don't see the
really feel
problem,
like a lot of, I,
personally.
for a lot of people, it was a
Yeah.
problem, and the thing that I can kind of see as similarities is that they're both really educated
Mm.
and both really powerful and strong women. And so as much as it's really like empowering for women, it's also not relatable on a like a larger scale because they're very intelligent and they're very like almost a little bit arrogant about it.
Mm.
But she is actually much more charming, I think, than Hillary Clinton. So, and I liked Hillary, so
Yeah, I think
you
it's
know,
a little bit sad that, okay, 4 years have passed. Hillary didn't win.
mm-hmm,
We know what
mm-hmm,
happened in this four
mm-hmm.
years. So people, they're still a little bit, um, how can I say, afraid of having a woman in a position of power, just because she's a woman.
Yeah.
They just don't like
Mm-hmm.
that, and we have so much evidence that women, we are excellent leaders. Like, look at the
Mm-hmm.
crisis, look at COVID, and you see that uh, several countries with women as the leader, they have managed to control the pandemic. So yes, it's still a little bit I'm confusing, I will say, that they don't, that the voter has to factor that into their decision to vote, I'll say.
Mm. Yeah. I I think with Hillary, everyone knew that she came with Bill, and then they also didn't want the whole like um the same sort of politics going on, and people thought that she was involved with all sorts of
Yeah.
scandals, and then she was very well crafted, very political, and so a lot of people, especially a lot of like young people, young millennials, are afraid of the same type of thing. White young millennials, I'll say. Um, with the thing that I really do think that shakes it up is that she's a black female, and that is a really that is crazy. It is fucking crazy because black women are the lowest on the totem
Yeah.
pole when it comes to anything, rights, privileges, job payment, even though they're the most educated, and with American statistics, they're the most educated, but yet they get paid the lowest. And it's just all these statistics are just basically like the shittiest statistics for black
Mm-hmm.
women. So to have a black woman in the running for this, it's fucking nuts. And I think what it does is, despite them both being moderate, it it says that this is the change that America is undergoing. And so the future is, even if they may not, let's say they become, you know, president and vice president, even if they may not do the things that we're hoping
Mm-hmm.
for, America's headed in the right direction anyway, just because of who they have in
Okay.
office. It's like an example,
They have set the bar for the
Correct.
future. Mm.
Correct. So I think that for a lot of people who are on the fence about this, particularly people of color and Black people, because when you look at her history, it sucks. And when you look at the fact, I mean, I'm sorry, but who you marry in politics is very strategic. And Obama did really well by capturing the Black vote because he had a Black family, he had a Black wife, and he had Black kids. And if he didn't have those things, he wouldn't be as he wouldn't be as liked or accepted by the common Black person in America, because he's unrelatable. First of all, he's light in complexion, he's very well educated, and he doesn't quote unquote talk Black, so he wasn't like Black enough. And so for many Black people, they just couldn't relate to him. They're like, and then he obviously has a Muslim name. So it was, in the beginning, it was like really jarring for a lot of Black people until they saw that he had a Black family with a Black wife, and they were like, holy shit, this man's Black.
Yeah, but that's funny because he had a Black wife, but she was even more educated than him. Yeah, and she was more sophisticated, and she was more, if you compare the two of them, I will say Michelle is she will win in that competition regarding the education and her background. But yeah, just because she was considered like Black, that changed everything.
Because she's a Black woman, so at face value, she means more symbolically to a lot of Black people. At face value, Kamala Harris doesn't appear to be a Black person. She almost looks like somebody who's passing. So somebody who could pass for either ethnically ambiguous or not even Black. And so for many Black people, she even looks physically unrelatable. So everybody's really pushing this narrative. Oh, she's a Black person. She's a Black woman. She's a Black woman. She's really Indian and Black, but that's besides the point. Yes, she's a Black woman and she needs to be accepted as a Black woman. But additionally, what really does a number, I think, as well, is that she's married to a white man. And she's got no kids as well. So she's almost 3-4 times unrelatable. Because most Black women have children. Most Black women have a Black husband or a Black boyfriend, or date within their race. So it really, I'm not saying like she isn't Black or she's not Black enough. What I'm saying is that
will be perceived.
Correct. Yeah. She doesn't necessarily have the appeal or the commonalities that Black people are looking for in her, which are just sort of basic and rudimentary. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not enough for her to be able to quote talk Black or have like, Black conversation and know how to use, her language or her speech. It's more about what you look like, so it's representation. Yeah, so, but on the flip side, I think she really helps, because I don't think she would be as like, as an example, I think that she would have a better chance of getting into office first before somebody like Michelle Obama.
Just because she's
based on her looks and based on who she's with and how she uses it, her advancement.
But one thing that I still don't get as an outsider, yeah, definitely representation matters, and you know, you want to see someone like you be in this position of power, like that person will be uh you know uh rooting for you and defending your rights, etc. But just kind of notice there's a little bit of, I wouldn't say close mindedness, but yeah, why wouldn't the black community accept someone that is not necessarily 100% black? Why is
Um, it's not that they wouldn't accept them, because I think at the end of the day, people want to go with what is closest to them,
exactly.
whether that's values or physical attributes, but it's very natural. I mean, it's almost instinctual. You go and you, for example, you go and you don't even realize it, but you probably have more people that either look like you or have similar values to you. You gravitate to those types of people and you just do it because it's just instinctual. So it's not that I don't think that Black people would gravitate to her. I'm just saying that it's harder. It will be harder for her to win over the Black vote based on her history. That's number one, and what she's already done. And based on two, the way she looks and who she's with. At the end of the day, I think that for most people, they want to get rid of Trump. And two, um, most people are like, I want somebody, most Black people like, I want somebody Black again in office. But I think a lot of Black people are afraid based on our history and based on the fact that, there's this term of like, if you don't marry within your race, you're considered a sellout. It's a very common term. Like, oh, you didn't marry a Black person, so now you're a sellout.
Oh, okay.
Or like, she's wish-washy on what she believes. She's just trying to get our vote. I mean, look at her. She doesn't even look like a Black person.
Like
You
some
see,
sort of rejection towards your
correct,
roots.
your own. Exactly.
Okay,
That's what it
makes
looks
sense.
like
Makes
on
sense.
her part. So that, those are my worries with the Black community. And like, honestly, like, we really don't need to be divided in this. But I feel my hope is that people just say to themselves, listen, we're not going to expect that she just changed everything. Her and Biden just change everything if they become presidents. Because we can't I mean, look at their history, right?
Yeah.
But we can say that we're moving in the right direction for the first time ever, having a Black female vice president.
Yeah. No, it's so important. I can imagine like kids looking at her and saying like, huh, she looks cool, you know? You know, at that age when you're like really idealistic and you put people like your idols on a pedestal and you just want to be like them and you get so much inspiration from them. I think that that is important. Like for new voters, say teenagers, and they're still like that type of voter. What would you say that the over 18, from 18 to 23-year olds, for example, how do they vote? Do they really? I would say in my case, I wouldn't investigate what they will do. I just say like, oh, I barely know what they stand for, the politicians, and I will vote. Do you think they're more conscious about that? That having someone like her in the ticket will be important for them? Will be
Yeah. I think it's starting to get really cool to like politics. Like, the older we get, generations seem to be more interested in information and getting to know like what the hell's going on with them. So I think there's more of a vested interest there, and I think it's starting to look cool if you know shit. But I still think that the general public, who are not necessarily invested in politics but sort of vote, the general public votes emotionally. I still think that most people including 18 and above, will be voting based on what they feel about a candidate, how they look, their first response, their behavior, what they hear from their friends, what they see in the media, all the memes that they see, and that's how they'll vote. That's my gut feeling. So what I really hope happens is that Biden and Harris get endorsed by a whole bunch of celebrities and a whole bunch of, those Gen Z rappers and stuff like
Billie
that,
Eilish.
exactly. And
she's in the convention, right? I think she was going to play.
Is she? Oh my gosh. I hope so.
Yeah, she is, I think. Yeah,
that's amazing.
I saw the line out for the convention, and I think she is.
That's amazing, because those are the types of people we need to endorse them, so that young kids go out and vote that way, because the entertainers are more, in my opinion, influential than the politicians.
No, they're the ones that could influence the everyday person, especially teens.
Yes. But yeah, what are your thoughts? I've talked quite a bit about this, and I obviously have an opinion. But what are your thoughts?
It will be so interesting to see how this will develop. I think that everything is, I don't know. I think there is a fine line, and everything looks like they're going to win, that they're just planning everything in the most calculated, cold way. And in theory, I will say, okay, it's going to work. But at the same time, you know how the other party is going to act, or what is going to be their strategy. So I will say, it's difficult to say who's going to win the election. Like, from now, I think they have a really good advantage based on what they have been doing. But anything could change in the next month, the next few weeks. So I think that the world is going to be really invested to see what is going to happen in the elections, because it's going to mean so much on how the world will change when the states will have a new leader, or will keep the one that they have, I'll say.
Thanks for listening. We want to know what you think.
Send us your comments and follow us on Twitter and Facebook
at #WannaCoffeePod.